Gary?
We'll be going with Amir and everybody else.
And how we look to manage things with the minutes and so forth, Ben putting out career minutes last night?
I think we're just going to go play. We're going to go play. And, you know, you come to Boston after playing last night without Joel and without TJ, and it's why you have a team. And so it's going to be an opportunity for Rashawn to come in. And Nick Stauskas is now healthy, and he will be taking up some of those minutes that TJ gave up.
Does Jared maybe play on the ball a little bit more tonight?
A little bit more. You know, we'll move things around. I think the group that we've been playing, plus the inclusion of Rashawn and TJ, is what everybody sort of should hear as the core rotation.
What led to the decision to go with Amir over Rashawn?
Just that, you know, I think it's obvious, really. Amir has been our backup center to Joel, and without Joel, we'll, you know, nudge him up and start the game. And I look forward to seeing Rashawn play. You know, he does a great job of keeping his spirits high. He understands that we're always in a decision of who backs up Joel. Sometimes it's Rashawn. Lately it has been Amir. And so he stayed ready. His attitude is great. But those reasons sort of influence going with Amir at the start.
Of all your players, Coach, Dario probably talks about this rivalry more than anybody. What have you told some of the young guys about what to expect here?
I think the domestic players understand it. Dario, because he comes from such a basketball family, and as I've said many times in Philadelphia, he was groomed to play basketball. You know, he's the son of 2 national basketball players in Croatia, and we all get that part of the world has a rich history with basketball, with Serbia and Croatia and Slovenia, etc. And he grew up in this environment, so his days of, you know, remembering the 76ers and the Celtics, albeit he was, you know, sort of a history revisionist and a little bit when he was really young, he appreciates it. You know, he appreciates it, and I'm proud that he does. I think it shows how much he loves the game.
Would he have the Sixers winning all the time or something?
He might have. I think, okay. You know, like he looks back and he's aware of the, you know, my days. Like I've said every time I come here, I drove down 95 as a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old. I did it almost every single year. And, you know, went to school here, and so the history personally that I have in this city, especially following the Celtics, and I listen to Dario sort of share some of those stories, you know, it's a very sort of historic program. And I think that his memories go back earlier than you would expect them to.
He strung together a couple decent games to end that homestand. Dario did. Have the points of emphasis to him been the same? Have you guys been focusing on anything different lately? What have you observed?
Not really. I think he just, you know, like anything, you get more comfortable the more you do something. And he's come into a starting group. The season is still incredibly young. You know, we played our second 10-game clump, how we break it down. We've played 20 games. Tonight will be the 21st. And I think there's just a rhythm to how we're trying to sub our team. We very much are still paying attention to that, different lineups that work well and pairings that work well. And I think that Dario, because he's getting more into a rhythm of how I'm playing him and some of the things that we're looking for, just allows him a high level of comfort, of expectation, and knowing where he can most influence the game.
How valuable do you think it is for a player like Tatum to play a lot as a rookie for a contending team?
Incredibly. You know, it's funny. I'm always looking at the Celtics over my shoulder. I'm always paying attention. And we as an organization very much respect, you know, them, and they're a few years ahead of us with their sort of version of a rebuild. And when you see Gordon go down at the start of the year, you know, you wonder how it's all going to play out. And I think that Jason has come in and really played in a very mature way. He's a quality kid. You know, you see Jalen step up. But to your point, Jason really has had a heck of a year. And the minutes that he's playing are going to serve him well.
Brett, what can you pinpoint to the three-point shooting the last two games? That has been, one of your strengths, leading into those two games.
I think it's just part of the 82-game rhythm, because really when you go to sort of the culprits that have been down a little bit, you go into one of the great shooters in sort of modern-day NBA history with J.J. Redick, and he's been down a bit. And Cub started out on fire and sort of came back to earth the past few games. And everybody else has been, up and down, but those two have struggled the last two games. And it's just part of the rhythm of the NBA. That's why, it's so important that you understand that your bread has to be buttered defensively, I think. And, I feel like we've been solid. We were 6th in the NBA a game ago. I think we were 10th going into last night's game. And really the defense is the thing I felt that let it down. Ben gets the most attention with the free throw stuff, but that's not the storyline to me. We have to play defense tonight against the league's best team.
Coach, you had Golden State and Cleveland and Boston. Gauge your team against those three? Is that something? In Houston. We're playing NBA royalty right now. We're playing against the league's best, and the analytics people tell us we've had the most difficult schedule to date in the NBA, and it feels like that. It feels like that. But I think it expedites learning. Second time playing Boston, Golden State twice, Houston 2 times, and Cleveland recently. You're always learning from all-stars, really, and I look at this team, and you look at what Kyrie and Horf Al have done with bringing some of those young guys along, and they're NBA all-stars for a reason. It's another great learning experience for us. I think that this building in this city has a real pulse. It's got a vibe to the building. It is unforgiving as Philadelphia is. And you go on the road and you play the league's best team, and there needs to be a level of sort of poise and sort of confidence amongst our group. Whether Joel or TJ is here, it doesn't matter. I think this building forces you to do that.
Brett, in the past you've given guys who are injured assignments when the team's been on the road. So what do you want Markelle in particular to get out of this while you guys are here?
It's more checking in. Like, it's always a kind of a common question I ask them. It's like, tell me what you see. We all go in and we go to halftime and we do the coach thing and look at the tape and stats and then deliver a message to the team, and we go out and try to pick something that we think has a chance to, pivot the game, re-steer the game. And so for me, it's an act of certainly engagement, and sometimes, you'd be surprised how insightful the guys are. They really most times nail it. And so the question, more than it isn't, is tell me what you see.
What's the latest on Markelle at this point, health-wise? Where he's at?
He's doing great in relation to all the, think about it, the practice that we've had nurturing young guys that have been injured. And it's completely holistic. We've talked about it a lot. It's sort of classroom stuff. It's weight room stuff. It's nutrition stuff. It's building up his cardio. It's running him around on the court. I think the defining moment is probably going to end up being like we're going to look at his shot, like he's going to go to the line, the free throw line, and we're all going to say, that sort of does it pass the eye test. And he's not there yet. He's just not there yet. Everything is moving forward, but it's not anything that we're going to rush. There needs to be a tremendous confidence level that he has, and a health-related confidence our medical people have. As far as a timeline of what that all means, we don't know. But I can tell you his heart is in the right place, his work ethic is great, and to date, although he's not in a uniform, I think the time that we've had is making him better. He's improving in a different way.
Players, whenever they're hurt, there's always the physical hurdles that they'll eventually know they'll get past. But mentally, can you talk about just that challenge for you, particularly for young players, to mentally get over the hurdle of being hurt and not being out there?
I think it's just a frustration that somebody took something from them that they used to have. And everybody sort of chooses ways to vent, what their release points are, how they're gonna channel their mind, and how they're gonna handle downtime. There's nothing worse, I think, for any of us than idle time. I like being busy. I want a routine. And when you especially take that away from a young guy that's now earning an incredible wage, like there's some slippery slopes you got to navigate. And with Jaleel and Nerlens and Joel and like now Markelle, we Ben Simmons, we've gone through this 5 times. And I hope that we've learned from it and that we're better. To your point, it is a challenge, but it's always engagement. You're trying to find ways that they feel like they're getting better, that it isn't idle.
2 more guys.
What do you think of Hack-a-Ben or whatever you want to call it?
I mean, this is my 17th year in the league. I've seen it, all of them. We used to do it in San Antonio. They did it to Bruce Bowen in San Antonio. As recently as last year, we did it to DeAndre. And it's part of the league's rules. They've limited a little bit, on how much you can do it. But because it's part of the rules and it isn't a part of FIBA rules, that coaches find ways to win. And I think last night, they felt like they had nothing to lose. They were down 20. They played their bench. They hit him, he missed. They hit him, he missed. Then he started making some. He went 6 for 8 to close out the game. It's just part of the league rules, and we've used it ourselves.
Coach, when you were looking to bring in a couple of veterans to supplement youth talent, why was Amir Johnson somebody that you targeted based on what he did here in Boston?
And I had a chance because I have been around for a while to call different people that have played with him. And so, for example, I would have talked to Brad. I would have talked to Evan Turner and, tell us how he ticks. And it was amazing to a man when nobody really didn't pivot out of like a consistent description of Amir. Incredible person, can handle a role, comes into a locker room, can make a statement and a point because he lives it. He lives right, he's clean, he's professional, he's got a personality. Guys that have a spirit and a personality on a day-to-day basis are priceless in the long NBA season. And he ticked all those boxes. And, he hasn't disappointed at all. He's a wonderful teammate. His teammates think the world of him. And I'm lucky to have him in our locker room.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
How you doing?